The scariest day of Georgie Cooper's young life, he didn't run to his mom. He didn't run to his dad. He ran to a grumpy old man who sold sporting goods. A 17-year-old kid just found out he got someone pregnant. His whole world is about to blow up. And the very first person he tells isn't either of his parents. It's his boss, a man named Dale Ballard. And that one choice tells you everything about who was really standing in Georgie Cooper's corner. By the end of this video, you're going to see that Dale Ballard is not just Meemaw's funny boyfriend. He's not just comic relief. He was quietly one of the most important men in Georgie's entire life. The guy who taught a high school dropout how to become a businessman. And in the most terrifying moment that kid ever faced, the guy who taught him how to be a man. Here's the part that stuck with me. There's a very specific reason Georgie went to Dale before his own father. And it is not what you'd guess. It's actually the kindest thing about both of them. We'll get to it. And here's something most people forget. Dale and Georgie didn't start out as friends at all. Dale actually did something to Georgie early on that was deeply, deeply unfair. Hold that thought too. Hey, grab a seat at Cooper's house. So let's talk about who Dale Ballard actually is. Because on the surface he's easy to dismiss. He's an older guy. Gruff. Sarcastic. He owns a sporting goods store in town, sells baseball bats and fishing gear and whatever else. He coaches the local Little League team. And mostly, the show uses him as Meemaw's on-again, off-again boyfriend. The two of them bicker, they break up, they get back together. It's funny. It's background noise. And here's a detail that's going to matter later. Dale is not some lonely old man with nobody. He's got a whole life behind him. He was married once, to a woman named June. It didn't work out, the marriage was a mess, but he's got a grown son from it. He's even got a grandson named Evan, who plays on the baseball team. So sit with that. Dale already has a family. A son. A grandkid. He doesn't need to go adopting some teenager who isn't his. He's got his own people. And I'll be honest with you about Dale, because the show is. He's not some perfect, wise mentor figure. He's kind of a big kid himself. He's stubborn. He's insecure. He gets jealous and petty, especially around Meemaw's smarter ex-boyfriend. He's flawed. He's a regular, grumpy, imperfect man. Which makes what he does for Georgie even more meaningful. Because a perfect saint helping you isn't that special. A flawed, grumpy, ordinary man choosing to believe in you when nobody else will? That's the real thing. Now, before we get to the good part, let me close that second loop, because it matters. Dale and Georgie did not start as a sweet little mentor and student story. It started with Dale doing Georgie dirty. Here's what actually happened. Dale hired Georgie to work at the store as a salesman. Good gig, and one day Dale and Meemaw go off to a casino, and they leave Georgie in charge of the whole place. Trusted him with it, and while Georgie is busy helping a customer, somebody robs the register. Cleans it out. Now, this is not Georgie's fault. He didn't steal a dime. Somebody else walked in and took the money while Georgie's back was turned, doing his actual job. But Dale comes back, finds out the money's gone, and he blames Georgie. And here's the part that'll get you. Georgie feels so bad about it that he offers Dale $500 of his own money to cover the loss. His own cash. A broke teenager, trying to make it right out of his own pocket. And Dale fires him anyway. I want you to really hear that, because for a long time people told this story wrong. They say Georgie got caught stealing. He didn't. He got robbed by somebody else, tried to pay Dale back out of his own pocket, and got fired for it. That's not a thief. That's a kid getting punished for something that wasn't even his fault. And the Cooper family did not take that quietly. Georgie and Meemaw actually went down to that store and egged the windows in revenge. Which, honestly, fair. So that's where these two start. Not as friends. As a man who treated a good kid unfairly, and a kid who had every reason to hate him. But here's where it turns. And here's why it ends up meaning so much. Dale comes around. Later on, Dale decides to give Georgie another chance. He hires him back. He makes amends. He looks at this kid he wronged, and decides, you know what? I was too hard on you. Come back. So this relationship didn't come free. And it didn't come easy. It got broken. And then it got repaired. By both of them. And a bond that's been broken and rebuilt is always stronger than one that was never tested. That's why what comes next hits the way it does. Now here's the thing you have to understand about Georgie. And it's the saddest part of his whole childhood. Nobody in his family thought he was smart. Nobody. His own mother called him dumb as soup. Out loud. More than once. To his face. His genius little brother skipped so many grades he ended up sitting right next to Georgie in class, just to make the comparison worse. The whole family had basically decided who Georgie was. The dumb one. The screw-up. The kid who wasn't going anywhere. Imagine growing up with that. Imagine everyone you love, quietly, agreeing that you're the family disappointment before you've even had a chance to become anything. And here's the cruel part. Georgie wasn't actually dumb. Not even a little. He was just standing next to a literal genius. Sheldon was off skipping grades and going to college as a small child, and the whole family's idea of smart got built around that one impossible kid. So next to Sheldon, every normal person on Earth looked slow. And Georgie, the older brother, the one who actually had to grow up and survive in the real world, got stuck wearing the label the dumb one for life. Just for the crime of not being a once-in-a-generation genius. That kind of thing gets inside a kid. You start to believe it. You stop trying, because what's the point? Everyone already decided who you are. A lot of kids in Georgie's shoes would have just given up and become exactly what their family expected. The screw-up. The nobody who never amounts to anything. And then there's Dale. Dale looks at this exact same kid, the one everybody calls dumb, and he sees something completely different. He sees hustle. He sees street smarts. He sees a young guy who actually understands people, and selling, and money, in a way you can't teach. So Dale does the one thing nobody in Georgie's family ever really did. He takes him seriously. He brings him back into the store, and he teaches him the business. How to sell, how to read a customer, how to run things, how to think like an owner, instead of just an employee. There's even a stretch where Dale takes Georgie and his dad camping, the three of them, and you get to see Dale just, including Georgie, treating him like one of the men, not the dumb kid. One of the men. And I love that the dad is right there for it. Because Dale didn't sneak around being some secret father figure behind George's back. George Sr. actually went out and had drinks with Dale. The two men knew each other. They got along. Dale was woven right into the family, dating Meemaw, hanging around the Coopers, showing up. So when Dale poured into Georgie, it wasn't a betrayal of George. It was two grown men, side by side, both trying in their own clumsy way to raise this kid into something. One was his father. One was his mentor. And for a little while there, Georgie actually had both. For the first time, a grown man is looking at Georgie Cooper and saying, with his actions, you're not dumb. You've got something. Let me show you how to use it. You cannot overstate what that does for a kid. The whole world told Georgie he was nothing. And one cranky old man, with a sporting goods store, told him he was something. Guess which voice changes a life? And here's where it all comes to a head. The moment I opened the video with. Season 6. Georgie is 17 years old. And he's just found out that Mandy is pregnant. Think about the panic. He's a teenager. He's a high school dropout. He's been lying about his age. The mother is older than him. His deeply religious mom is going to lose her mind. His dad is going to be crushed. His whole life is about to detonate. So who does he go to first? Not his mother. Not his father. He goes to Dale. He walks into that store, and he tells his boss, this grumpy old man, before he tells a single member of his own family. And it just shocks Dale. The poor guy can barely process it. And now let me close that first loop. Why? Why would a kid run to his boss before his own parents? Two reasons. And together, they're the whole heart of this story. The first reason is shame. Georgie was terrified of disappointing the people he loved. His mom's faith, his dad's hopes. All of it. The fear of those faces, of letting his family down, was so heavy he couldn't carry it to them first. He needed a practice run. He needed to say the words out loud to somebody who wouldn't look at him like he'd just ruined everything. And that's the second reason. Dale was the one adult in Georgie's life who had already seen him at a low point and stuck around anyway. Remember, Dale had wronged him and then chosen him. They'd already been to the bottom together and climbed back. So Dale was safe. Dale wasn't going to crush him. Dale was the one grown man who looked at Georgie and saw potential instead of failure. So that's where the scared kid went, to the one person he knew wouldn't break him. But here's the part that gives me chills. Here's what makes Dale Ballard quietly great. Dale could have taken that moment and kept it. He could have let Georgie lean on him, made himself the hero, become the cool surrogate dad the kid runs to instead of his real father. He didn't. Dale listened. And then Dale told him to go tell his father. Read that again. The kid hands Dale his deepest fear, his most fragile secret, and Dale's response is to gently push him back toward George. Back toward his real dad. Back toward his real family. That is the difference between a man who wants to be needed and a man who actually loves you. Dale didn't try to replace George Cooper. He pointed Georgie home. And remember, Dale already had a son of his own. He knew exactly what a father is supposed to be. So instead of stealing that role from George, he did the fatherly thing and handed Georgie back to the man who deserved to hear it. And that's the whole reason this matters. Because I'm not here to tell you Dale was Georgie's real dad and George wasn't. That's not it at all. George Cooper loved his son. We've talked about George before, and he was a good father in his own quiet, tired way. Dale was something different. Dale was the second man in Georgie's corner. The mentor. The one who believed in the kid the family had given up on. And the beautiful thing is, those two men were never really in competition. Dale's finest moment was handing Georgie back to his father. And think about how rare that actually is. Most people, when somebody finally needs them, when somebody finally chooses them over everyone else, they hold on tight. They make it about themselves. It feels good to be the one person someone trusts in their darkest moment. Dale had that. He had this kid's complete, total trust at the scariest hour of his life. And he gave it away. He sent it back home, where it belonged. That is not a small thing. That's a man who loved Georgie enough to not need to be Georgie's favorite. Now zoom out for a second, because this is where it really lands. A couple of years after this, George Cooper dies. Suddenly. A heart attack. And Georgie, still basically a teenager, has to become the man of the entire family overnight. He's got a wife, a new baby, a grieving mother, a wild little sister, and eventually, a tire shop that he builds into a real successful business. So ask yourself, where did a high school dropout, a kid everyone called dumb, learn how to run a business? How to stay steady when everything's falling apart? How to be the calm adult in a room full of chaos? Some of that came from George, sure, but a lot of it came from a grumpy old man at a sporting goods store who decided, when nobody else would, that this kid was worth teaching, who broke trust with him, rebuilt it, and then poured years of know-how into him. Think about the whole arc for a second. Georgie goes from a teenager standing behind Dale's counter selling baseball gloves to a young man running his own tire shop, doing deals, managing people, building something real with his name on it. That doesn't happen by accident. Somebody taught him the basics. Somebody showed him how a business actually works, day after day, customer by customer, dollar by dollar. And that somebody was not his genius little brother, who could explain the entire universe, but couldn't sell a glass of water in the middle of a desert. It was Dale. The grumpy guy from the sporting goods store handed Georgie the one education that actually paid his bills for the rest of his life. Dale Ballard helped build the man who held the Cooper family together. And the show treats him like a punchline. So the next time you watch Dale and Georgie. Don't just laugh at Dale and Meemaw bickering. Watch how Dale talks to that kid. Watch the respect. Watch him do, quietly, the thing Georgie's whole family forgot to do. Believe in him. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Dale stops being the funny boyfriend and starts being one of the most important men in the entire show. So I want to know what you think. Was Dale the best mentor figure in this whole universe? Better than anyone gave him credit for? Or am I giving the grumpy old man too much love? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and I want to hear it. And hey, real quick, if you had a Dale in your life, a coach, a boss, a neighbor, somebody who believed in you when your own people didn't, maybe think about that person today. Those are the ones who quietly change everything. That's it from me. Stay here at Cooper's house. We've got a lot more of these people to break down. I'll see you in the next one.